President Trump made his first official visit to a historically black college or university Friday. It at the 2019 Second Step Presidential Justice Forum at Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina. Mr. Trump touched on everything from the First Step Act to the impeachment inquiry. He emphasized his commitment to ending injustice in the country.
We have so many people that have been hurt, destroyed, and humiliated in ways that we've never seen before in the history of our country. And we're working to put an end for everybody to horrible injustice and the horrible practices that we've seen. It's just not only here, it's in other places. It's in some pretty high places. Justice, fairness, and due process are core tenets of our democracy. These are timeless principles I will faithfully uphold as president. They're principles Republicans stand for and historically Democrats have stood for in the past.
President Trump's visit came a day before some 2020 Democratic presidential candidates will descend on the HBCU to lay out their own criminal justice reform plans. Maayan Schechter joins us now from Columbia, South Carolina. She's a statehouse reporter at the state. Maayan, thank you so much for being with us. So this event was originally billed as a forum featuring 2020 Democratic presidential candidates and President Trump. How did that format change?
So last week, we got the announcement that Trump was coming to Columbia, South Carolina to speak at this 2020 Bipartisan Justice Center symposium that was supposed to focus on criminal justice reform. But with any presidential visit, it automatically or mostly becomes an official White House visit. So this became an official White House visit today, and that was ticket only. It was not a visit that supporters of Trump could easily get tickets. It was not ticketed. So this was an announcement made last week, and that changed it.
So invitations were extended to about 300 people, we understand, but a large portion of those were guests of the administration. So does it seem his message resonated with people there, given how small the audience was?
Well, I think the message definitely resonated inside. There was, like you mentioned, a good number of supporters of the president and his administration. There were also tickets that were given to the state Republican Party here that were then handed out to certain individuals, including state lawmakers, mostly from the Republican Party. But yes, I think to answer your question that his message resonated inside. It definitely likely resonated with the president's core base outside of the venue. Obviously, the message from those outside the venue was much different with the heavy protests that we saw.
Well, I want to ask you about that because this is believed to be the president's first visit to an HBCU. However, only 9 students were invited to the event with the president. Your newspaper reported students were told to stay in their dorms while the president was on campus.
Yes, and one of my colleagues, Lucas DePrilly, wrote about that. Students who were not invited were told to stay inside or not to be on campus, mostly because of security reasons. But yes, so the school was able to invite 9 students. Unfortunately, only 7 could attend because 2 had ROTC training at the very same time.
Okay, interesting. So how then did students in general there respond to the president's visit?
Many students originally saw this as a really great opportunity for the president to not only get to know their HBCU, but get to know their community. But yes, students were not happy with the fact that this was not an opportunity where they could ask the president questions. So many students saw the president coming to their school, to Benedict College, as sort of using their school as a prop, as using it as an opportunity to really talk to his base and not to really get to know the Black community here in Columbia, South Carolina. They were very, very, very critical of the president's stop today.
All right. So a recent poll from the Associated Press shows that Trump's approval rating among African Americans is at just 4%. Was the president hoping to gain more support from this voting bloc from this visit?
Yeah, I think it was twofold. I mean, this is an opportunity for the president to tout the First Step Act that he signed last year to his base, also to members of a minority community, to African Americans. But yes, I think the president wanted to use this opportunity to talk directly to the Black community here, specifically in South Carolina. I do think that the president wanted to use this opportunity to talk and connect with the Black community here in South Carolina. Clearly, he wanted to use this as well beyond just that. But there were definitely moments where his speech sort of centered on what you would see at some of his campaign rallies. So I think it was twofold. I think he tried to use it as an opportunity to grow his base, but it was an opportunity that he used to really talk directly to his base.
So is the First Step Act a popular piece of legislation with South Carolina voters, and do they give the president credit for that?
Criminal justice reform in general is very popular with South Carolina voters, particularly Black voters that I've talked to while I've been covering 2020 on the trail. I'll be honest, when I do talk to voters about criminal justice reform, rarely do they mention the president's name. I'm not sure if many really know that he did indeed sign the First Step Act. But yes, that piece of legislation is very popular here. I've never heard anyone here trash it or criticize it. I mean, like we saw today, the president invited three people up on stage, one of whom was a Columbia resident who had been sentenced to a pretty lengthy prison sentence on drug charges, but got out because of the First Step Act, and was able to talk today about why the president signing that piece of legislation was so instrumental to her being let out of prison early and to her being able to start her life again.
Now, this is obviously an important event for several 2020 Democratic candidates as well to attend this criminal justice forum. We just heard that Senator Kamala Harris says she will no longer attend. Do you know why not?
Kamala Harris has clearly not been happy with the president's rhetoric even before today. I think what the president said up on the stage she did not appreciate. I know she also jabbed the president for his being a recipient of a Bipartisan Justice Center award that she herself has received. Clearly, we know that Kamala Harris is not a fan of the president, and she actually will be hosting, or we're not totally sure on the details yet, but she'll be speaking with Allen University students tomorrow instead. She'll still be in Columbia. We just don't exactly know where. And Allen University is an HBCU that's directly located next door to Benedict College.
All right, Maayan Schechter, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.